All right, back to painting baits. Yesterday I tried something new, which was this interactive bait painting. Hey, Papa, Iggy, Zax, Big Nick, hey, Eric. So, yesterday kind of worked out really well. It was kind of fun. Uh, the viewers had some suggestions on me painting some baits. So, we're going to do it again. And we're going to paint two of them at the same time. I really love these top waters. How did it go? Well, it went good. We did a crappie. This is a jointed wake bait. And then, really hard one. This is a pumpkin seeds sunfish. It's really hard for you to see that. But anyway, it's a pumpkin seed sunfish. And so we did that one. So today we're going to do two finesse baits. And we're just going to have fun. So, okay, that's all right. Put down in the suggestions in the chat. And we'll paint these. Let's get these done. It was fun, actually. I enjoyed it yesterday. I think people enjoyed it. So we're going to paint these. And let's see what we got here. Put that on there like that. And all right, so we got these set up. Voila. So what do we paint? What are we going to paint? Anybody got a suggestion? We can do anything you want. These are little. But I have stencils for this size bait. Hard stencils, so we can do it really well. We can do a baby bass. I love baby bass, but nobody's buying them. It's such a great bait. Nobody wants to buy a baby bass design. Any small jerk baits for trout? Well, of course I do. I do. All right. See that? Okay, so, all right. We'll take one of these top waters off. We'll do a jerk bait and a top water, a wake bait. That is a tiny little bait. All right. Fantastic for trout. I will tell you that, the one color trout do distinguish in the water, and you're going to think this is weird, but you can Google it if you don't believe me, is blue. Blue is a trout's most distinguished color that they can see. It's weird. So we got two baits. We got a trout bait, and we have a bass bait, both finesse. What are we going to do with these? What do you want me to paint them? Campos. Yes. What do we want to paint? What, Campos? It was your idea. What do you want me to paint on it? You want it bright colors? Usually for trout, we want to go bright. They're stupid. Anything bright and shiny that swims by them, they go ahead and they get. So, all right, well, I think bright colors. I really do. Now, the top water, we could do a top water, dark color or a bright color, but I like to keep them in a similar scheme. What do you think, guys? What do you think? This is like interactive, all right? So, what colors do you think are good? Again, trout love blue. I know it's weird, but they love the color blue. It's what they can see. Now, exact opposite for bass. Bass do not have blue cones, so they're colorblind to blue. It's weird, but that's the way it is. You learn something every day, right? All right. No suggestions? That means I get to pick. Unless you guys come up with something. But since we're going to go with a very bright baits on both of these, we're going to go with a white base. on it. That's what we're going to go. If we went with dark, I did not clean this out as good as I thought I did. So we're going to give you guys a second to come up with a color scheme. If you don't, then I will. But, you know, the ones that I come up with, I know we'll catch fish, all right? But it is kind of fun to have you guys come up with something. Just is kind of fun. And, you know, it's like you guys are remotely painting a bait. How cool is that? When somebody orders a bait from me, I will do a video of it. And so they can see their bait created. How cool is that? And so when you get it in the mail, you can actually go to the video and watch your bait painted. It's so cool to do. It's just cool. And you can just send me a DM if you have a specific bait. I will be ordering some large swim baits. They're really big. Well, they're 7, 8 inches, but they catch fish like crazy. And I will be painting those in probably about a month. You know, one thing about having a whatnot show, don't see any of that. I know, all I'm doing is cleaning the brush right now. You'll see that. All right. You'll see that. You'll see it now. I'm not painting it. All right. We're just going to do some white base. We're just doing a white base. And then you got to put down a color base. Color base has everything to do with the color of the colors that I put on it. You want it to be more red, you want it to be more yellow, you put white. If you want it to be more muted or color shifting, then you got to put a black base on it. I know it sounds weird, but that's the way it works in paint jobs. All right, so nobody actually suggested a color. Oh, pink and chartreuse. All right, Daddy. You know what? I don't know if I've done a pink bait in quite a long time. And since Daddy was the first to pick, we're going to go pink and chartreuse. All right. So, I got to think about it now. I'm thinking. All right, got our 2 colors. Now I got to think of a design. We're going to go with a chartreuse belly. That's what we're going to do. A chartreuse belly. And we'll go with a pink back, but whenever you put stripes or patterns on a bait, it flashes the bait. And so we're going to put a pattern over the pink and chartreuse, Daddy, in order to flash it while it's in the water. So we're going to put a pearl pineapple, it's called pearl pineapple, on the belly of these things. And then we have to mix a pink. So we're going to mix and create a pink. It's not like one of those colors you always have. About 4 drops. Okay, so now just doing it on the bottom half of the bait. Try to mute that light a little bit without me painting in the dark. So now, okay, so now we've got our yellow. And now we're going to go, we're going pink. We're going to go pink. This is a daddy special. Who's your daddy? All right. But you want to go with a pearl. I'm going to go with a platinum white. I'm going to go with a platinum. Call it sugar daddy. All right, we'll call it sugar daddy. Daddy's calling it today. So we're going to put some white, and red is a very strong pigment, so that's why you tint white. You don't tint red. You'll never get the color that you want. It's a very strong pigment, and all you got to do is wet a toothpick. Okay. In order to create the pink. Such a strong. That's just the tip of a toothpick, and look at all that. Look at all that red in there. I mean, it's just the tip of a toothpick and about 5 drops of white. So you can't. I mean, you got to know the strength of a color, and the darker the pigment, the more potent it becomes. Just make a nice pink. Nice pink. Uh-oh. Got a clog? Should not have a clog. Something might have come out of one of the. It's okay. We can fix it. There we go. We fixed it. We got it out. All right. All right. Let's go with Sugar Daddy. May have to make that pink a little more red. It's real light. Looks darker in the cup. Not too bad. We'll just put a few layers on it. Hopefully we got enough. It's pink and yellow. But we're going to really darken the spine. I really think that'll help catch a fish. Now the good thing is both bass and trout see these colors. So that's good. Now we're going to put some red in here. I want to make the spine a nice red. All right. We got to dry those a little bit. Yeah, I really dislike autofocus. I don't. Let me see if I can turn the autofocus off. Let's see. I'm going to turn autofocus off on this so it's sharper. I'll look up on this monitor. It's far, far away, and at my age, I'm old. Takes me a while. All right, there we go. All right, that's sharper. All right. All right, let's go back to the stream. Okay. So we're going to, basically now I'm going to take a little bit of red right along that spine. You can't see, can you? Okay. Just along that spine there, just darken it. I'm leaning on real thin. There. You guys can get the autofocus off, but you can see that hopefully really good. Take it on the bass bait. You can see it better on the bass bait. It's a little bit bigger. Okay, so now instead of leaving them like that, we're going to put some patterns on this because it'll flash the colors better in the water. Always find, well, not always find. Sometimes it's good to go with just a, something that's not patterned. But we're going to put a pattern on it. So we need to dry those really good because I'm going to put a stencil on it. We'll get some pearl black. And, oh, you know what would be good on the jerk bait, the trout bait? Would be scales. Where is it? Is it here? Yep, scales. On the other one, so we'll put scales on that little guy, and then we're going to put stripes on the other one. That's what we'll do. So scales and then stripes. So let's get the hem dry because I got to snap on those. This one I don't have to. I'm just going to hold the template away, onto it, and I think it's dry right now, so we're good. So we're just going to take a little bit of black, a few drops, purge, And when you make scales, you don't make them dark, you make them light. So we're going to take this. This is my scale pattern. And we're just going to take it, and we hold the brush farther away in order to get a finer mist. And I know, I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can see the scales just a little bit there. And you know, you don't want the scales to dominate the fish. The scales don't dominate color patterns on a fish. You just want those scales to be faint right on top of it. So that's what we've done. Just put a faint scale pattern right on top. So this guy we're going to do a little different because, you know, I have hard stencils for this guy. So we're going to take him. We're going to take one of these hard stencils right here, snap it on, make sure he's dry. And you snap it on there just like that. And spray it. And then you dry it. And then we remove it, and hopefully it looks good. You never know. You snap it on good, you're usually pretty good. All right, now we take it off. Look at that. Voila, see, so pretty. Stencils are, hard stencils are expensive, by the way. Just, all right. All right. Take that, dry it. These are our sugar daddies. Daddy has actually designed his first bait, probably. I don't know. Unless sugar dad or daddy actually does this all the time. And we're good. So there we go. Now, I like a little bit darker head on it. I like around the eyes. It makes the eyes pop. A dark, sort of a black eye on it. When I put the eyes on here, usually red or yellow eyes, makes it pop a little bit. So that looks pretty cool, guys. Look at that. Is your first one? Well, there you go. We'll call this one Pimp Daddy. We'll call that one Sugar Daddy. So this guy's got scales on it, and you've got that pineapple yellow into the pink onto a darker red, not much, not real dark. And we could do what we did with the bass one. And it really makes the eyes pop when we darken the head a little bit. So now we darken that head just a little bit. And we get that when we put the eyes in there, and then of course the clear coat. Clear coat really makes the thing just shine like it's wet paint. I'll show you in a second with these other ones. They're dry enough for me to touch. There's not enough in there to pour back in. I'll show you these other ones in a sec. I wait until I have about 10 baits to clear coat because I have to mix epoxy. It's a 2-part epoxy. And then I brush it on by hand. I brush the epoxy on by hand. And I focus around the bottom half and around the eyes, or the eyelets, because one thing about fishing, you always have what we call hook rash on our baits. And so I put an extra layer in that area that you would normally have hook rash. And it's just, well, it makes the bait look better longer, is what it does. A buddy of mine, because he buys pretty expensive baits, $50, $70 baits. He likes big baits. He gets hook rash. And he asked me, he said, Mike, does it hurt if I put more clear coat on it? I says, no. You can put another layer of clear coat. So this right here, here's a, when you go to my 25th, the show that I'm having on the 25th, you'll see a video of me painting this. Now, mind you, it's only 60 seconds long. It takes an hour and a half to paint this bluegill, but it came out so pretty. One's for me, one's for you. Because, I like, when I spend an hour and a half on a bait, I don't just sell it. It's a beautiful craw. Look at this craw. You see how the clear coat really does a great job on it? Really, really. And notice too, on these are glass eyes. And if you notice on them, they really, and they bubble out. They're really big. And it's yellow and green, so it really complements the color scheme I put on that bait. Here is, I know, this one you guys are thinking, wow, I didn't take much effort. And you're right, didn't. But I will tell you, this particular paint scheme works really, really well. And this is a bone white, the whole thing. This, sometimes you just catch a fisherman. Sometimes you catch the fish. And you mentioned about, so this is a jerkbait one we just painted, except I did it in a color shift. This right here, I don't know if you can see the color shifting. And if you notice the sparkles on it, I use a PPG paint pigment, and it's color shifting. It'll shift the full color of the rainbow, and I put it in my clear coat. And so when the light hits it, it sparkles. And it looks sort of like scales shimmering. And it's just, I do that on virtually every bait that I do, unless there's a specific, thing I'm looking for. But the PPG, it's an automotive pigment. And it is, well, a buddy of mine works for PPG, and he gave it to me. And it just, my baits are very successful, and I don't know if it's because of the PPG pigment or not, but it really does help. So there's our bass. There's our bass topwater finesse. It's a little wake bait. I always love wake baits because when I'm teaching fishing at Lake of the Woods, teaching a kid how to catch topwater, there are 2 topwater baits that are guaranteed to a beginner to do well with, and that's a wake bait and a whopper plopper. Those are the 2 guarantees for any beginner to catch a topwater. Walking baits are very complicated, but take some practice. You don't teach that to beginners. So there is our jerk bait for a trout. This is a trout bait. Although it'll catch smallmouths too. That'll catch smallies too. So one's a sugar daddy, one's a pimp daddy. Because Daddy actually spoke up and he picked the colors, which are 2 really good colors, because both colors, both trout and bass, can see yellow and red. Bass cannot see blue, but blue is a more prominent color for trout. If you ever want to fish trout, try blue. So, I wanted, how many of us? We got 9 of us. What if we rage somebody? How do you rage somebody? Somebody did that the other day, and they raided somebody else's. I don't know how to do it. I'm new to this. Do any of you guys know how to raid? I don't know. Well, forget it. I'll figure it out. Should we paint one more? Should we paint one more? I have so many baits to paint. It's crazy. Let's try. The number one. I haven't painted one of these in a while. This is a single hook round bill. Dives about 5 feet. And I haven't painted one of these in quite a while. I do not have a stencil for it because it's not a real common blank for me. So this right here, it's great for bass and for trout. It is a round bill. I guess they call it one of those PC bill or PC or circuit board bills. I don't know, something like that. And what do you think? That? You paint that? I love finesse. I use my most dominant fishing outfit that I use when I'm fishing is a Cajun custom rod, one just like this, a trigger. But it's 7.5 feet light, and I use a Shimano Aldebaran BFS reel on it. The best. The best. What colors should I go with next? Anybody got a suggestion on colors? We can use this for a trout, and trout do see blue. Where bass don't. Bass actually see blue as silver. So that's why it still works. That's just what they see. They don't have blue cones in their eyes. So what do you think? Anybody got a suggestion on a paint scheme? There's 4 of you there. Or should we quit? Should we quit? Stop here? I don't know how to do a raid. I think that would be fun. Hey, Cryptic. He goes fishing. Gotta love the guy. So we just painted a trout jerkbait and a bass wake bait in sort of a chartreuse pink. Although I did put some black on there and some designs, some scales, and some stripes on him. It really adds for the flash in the water. You know what? How about if we go with translucent? What if we go with a transparent bait? So I do have some transparent white here. Yeah, we're going to go with the transparent white. It's kind of fun to see the inside of a bait. My stuff shows it should be arriving on the 20th. Yeah, I don't know. You know what, Single Dad? I package and ship the next day. I really do, guys. But I don't know what it is about Whatnot. I think they use the Pony Express. When I use Pirate Ship, when I ship normally, I use Pirate Ship. It gets scanned, it gets done. I think it's just like first class. But with Pirate Ship or with Whatnot, I don't think they use first class. It's a slow shipping. Even the stuff I get from other people, I'm just putting a transparent white on this. And we're going to dry that. So, it's just weird. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's why it's cheap, because it's really, Whatnot shipping is really inexpensive. So I don't, it's not nothing. I only put a few drops. So I apologize. I'm used to much faster shipping. Even the stuff I ordered on the 12th from a couple places, Whatnot auctions, still not here. But again, I'm new to this. Whatnot, I'm not new to doing auctions because I do them, but Whatnot is a new thing. So yeah, Single Dad, it'll get there. I did put some extra stuff in there. You're going to love it. I appreciate it. I really do. You know, whenever you buy something from me, and I will just tell you, there will be surprises in the box. I mean, I do have terrible at fishing stickers, so I have quite a few of them. So people, when you buy something, you got to have a terrible at fishing sticker for your tackle box, because we're all terrible at fishing once in a while, right? We just are. All right, so we're going to go with transparent colors, and one of my favorite transparent colors is yellow. I love yellow as a transparent color. I use this as a glaze on a lot of baits. I will just mist this particular color over my baits, and it makes them glow. Just brightens up all the colors by just putting a mist of transparent yellow on it. Really, really pretty. Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, Single Dad will get his baits pretty soon, and so we're just going to paint this transparent yellow. Focus on the bottom, though. I just missed it on the top. All right. So now we got a very, 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 very yellow bait that we can see the inside of. That's what we can do. All right. You know what? Kind of fun to do just a one-off like this. It is fun to do a one-off because I can experiment. Now, this is a color shift. Now, you always take color shift and you always put it over a black base. But when you put it over a lighter base, it looks nothing like the color that is on the outside of the bottle. And to be honest, you're quite surprised. Maybe, well, good surprise or bad surprise. I don't know. We're going to see. This is called Laser Face. If this is going over black, it goes from like a green into a gold into a magenta. But we're not putting it over black because we're going crazy here. We're just going crazy. But it's really, really thick. So you got to use reducer. If you don't use reducer, you use water, but I'm going to have to shake that up even more. This is heavily pigmented. Really heavily pigmented stuff. A lot of metals in this. So you don't use a fine tip on this. I have a medium tip on my brush. Sometimes, all depends, I go with a large tip. But I can get this to flow through medium. But we have no idea what color it's going to turn out. I don't. Because I've never painted it over a yellow base. So, it's a mystery. We'll call this the mystery bait. Maybe we'll give it away. Maybe we'll put this as a giveaway on my auction. If it turns out nice. If it doesn't turn out nice, then we won't give it away. I'll fish it. Give it to a kid at the lake. I give a lot of baits away at Lake of the Woods. I'm in Klamath Falls, Oregon, by the way. You don't pay sales tax when you buy from me because we don't have sales tax here. All right. This is going to be weird. It's just going to be weird. It may not even color. I don't know. Now, normally with this, I put several layers, like 3 or 4 layers. So we're going to dry that, and we're going to continue layering this. I do see some really neat gold flecks in there right now. I do see some really neat gold flecks. So I think after we put on 3 layers of this, it'll start to shift and do some really neat stuff. I don't know. I ain't never done it over yellow. It's a mystery date. Every color has a preference of a base layer. This one's black, not yellow, but that's okay. We're gonna put another layer on here. Oh my God, you guys, the camera's gonna pick that up. Camera picking that up at all? I don't know. It's gold. Oh my God, it's beautiful, guys. It really is beautiful. Like I said, I don't know if the camera can pick it up. Turn the light off, maybe. We gotta dry it. This thing's coming out looking like a jewel. It's gold with some magenta flecks in it. So that's that color shift this particular paint will do if I'm over black. We're just doing the top part. The top 60%. Man. And it is a transparent paint, believe it or not. It's really pretty. Wow. I'm just going to keep layering it on because I've got probably one more coat in my cup here. It really is beautiful. This thing in the sun is going to just be, it's going to look like a lost crown or something. It really is pretty beautiful. I don't know how to do rate. How do you do a rate on these things? Notching, mods, I don't know. I don't know. But I want you to bookmark my 25th auction. I do custom paints, and I've been doing custom painting yesterday and today here on Whatnot. These baits will be for sale on my 25th auction. God, that's gorgeous. I know the camera's not picking it up. I know it. Because it is just a beautiful. I've never done this paint over a yellow base. You guys can see that color shift. See the magenta? See that magenta? It is stunning. And it is a beautiful gold green into that magenta. This is a color shifting paint by a very expensive paint, by the way. So it was quite the risk to do it. Turbo Dork is the name of the brand of paint. And it is, well, it's expensive. It costs more than these Createx. So you look at the size difference. You know, that's the size difference between these two. They're tiny. And it costs the same as Createx, this little itty bitty bottle. The nice thing is it comes out like toothpaste. So you got to really thin it up. But it is the best color shifting paint I can find right now. So this, look at that. Look at that. I mean, you can see the magenta? See that magenta? I know the camera really isn't doing this justice. It really isn't. So it's just not doing it the way I'm seeing it. In person, that is just beautiful. So what I want to do now with this, we're going to dry it a little bit more. what I want to do is I want to put a black spot right on the side of it. Um, and we'll hand paint that with an artist brush. So I'm just going to hand paint that spot. And Martin Batsbig, well, welcome, buddy. Welcome. So we're just, to be honest, I'm just having fun. Although these two baits were designed by Daddy. These two baits right here. There's a trout, and then that's a bass wake bait. And I've got, see my messy area, but these right here are curing. They're dry enough to touch. But it takes 2 days for the clear coat to cure on these. And and then after I get like 10 baits, that's when I will mix some epoxy. And then I hand paint the epoxy on with a brush, disposable brush, not this one. And all right, so we're just going to lay this down on this nice little cloth, and we're going to hand paint a spot right above. There's a center line on these, and then the gill plate. So basically, where I put my spot, put it right on that center line, and then follow that gill plate up just a little bit. Make sure it's nice and covered. And dry it, and we'll flip it over. Do it again. So, and again, we're going to do the same thing here, same spot, right along that gill plate and above that center line. So now it looks the same. Not that a bass or anything paid attention to it, but you guys should have something that looks the same. I don't know. All right. So now you take a highly complicated hanger. It only looks like a paper clip that's unfolded. It's actually much more technical than that. And that is, I mean, that color shift is cool, man. You can see that purple, that magenta in it. Look at that. It's so pretty. Yeah, I love making baits. I'm disabled. I suffered a brain injury, I guess would be the best way to put it. Natural. A blood clot formed in my brain, and it paralyzed me for about 7 months. And I made this channel on YouTube called Terrible at Fishing. So if you guys want to subscribe to my channel on Terrible at Fishing, you'll see me catch a lot of fish. You'll see me make a lot of baits. You'll see me do all sorts of stuff. I have over 1,000 videos there and lots of playlists that you can choose. But I started the channel as therapy. I was paralyzed and I could barely talk. And so I started the channel as to learn how to talk again. It's give me a reason to talk. And so I talked and I talked and I talked on this channel. And then eventually in about 7 months, the blood clot is in what's called the pons. It's like it's the funnel of the brain to the stem. That's where the blood clot formed. And the new vessels grew around it, fortunately. And then at that point, I was able to start recovery. That was about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I suffer a lot of strokes. Had one a couple months ago, but embolisms, which is it's just one of those things my blood does, and I'm on thinners, but we've done as much as we can. Have destroyed most of my right lung and my heart and stuff like that. So I just play it day to day. I have fun. I go fishing. I teach fishing. I make baits, sell baits, and I just have a good time. Life is way too short. Oh, you know what? I have two airbrushes here, and these airbrushes I never use, but you could get them really cheap. Um, uh, a good airbrush is worth its money. You'll pay $100 for a good airbrush. What I use now is when my wife and I met, 40 years ago almost. Um, I was an airbrush painter, and I used Pache. So this is a Pache Talon. I love Pache, although Awada is a very, very, very good airbrush too. If I was to tell you to buy a brush, it would be either a Pache or an Awada. These right here, you could get an airbrush kit, with 3 of these things, for on Amazon for like $80. But I don't recommend it because they really aren't very good. And I don't know why I leave them up there, because I have nowhere else to put them. They're on the stand. It's just the way it works. But I would tell you to get an Awada or a Pache. Pache is just a brand that I learned on, and I used to teach airbrushing when I was much younger, a lot thinner, better looking. I got my wife's attention. She came into my store. I was working at Aaron Brothers Art Mart. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, but and she was shopping for a print, and I wanted to ask her out, and I was pretty shy, so I all the employees knew I liked her, and they circled the wagons while I was trying to help her pick out a print. She picked out a Monet, and I kind of asked her out. Even I didn't understand the words that were coming out of my mouth. So, just, yeah, DM me, DM me, and I'll put together what I got that I don't use, and we'll figure something out for you, and we'll ship it over to you. And just DM me, and I've got 3. So we're going to send you all 3. Just send you all 3. I don't use them. This is really you're going to use the gravity feeds, the siphon feed you're never going to use. I didn't even unbox it. It's still in the box. But you're going to use gravity feeds, because this is really, to be honest, this one will work just fine, the little guy. You're never going to fill that cup. You just never. You're only going to do the little one. And, 5 drops of paint is all you need. And so I'll clean these out and get them all nice for you. And I haven't touched them in ages. They're just sitting there on the stand. So just DM me, and we'll figure something out. It'd be good to get rid of them, I guess. And I think you'll have a good time learning with them, and you'll have a good time with it. You'll still need to get a compressor. Just go to Harbor Freight. If you got a Harbor Freight, go to Harbor Freight. You can get these little stands for like $6 at Harbor Freight, and you can get a compressor for $50 or something like that, and you'll be set up. For under $100, you can get some paint. There's go to my YouTube page. I have a YouTube channel. I have it on airbrushing, and there's one on starting out. There's a video on starting out. You're gonna love that. It's like a 15-minute video, but it'll show you where to go, what to buy, things like that. You'll like that a lot. And again, we'll get these little airbrushes out to you. Oh, you have one that broke, but it runs barely. You need about 35 pounds of pressure to airbrush. 35 pounds of pressure. So that's all you need. You don't need a lot. You don't need a tank. Although if you have an air tank attached to your compressor, it's a much more smoother airflow. When you're dealing with piston compressor, it comes out, goes, and sometimes, especially if I'm doing really fine stuff, you'll see that inconsistent of air pressure in a very fine line. Typically, if I'm blowing a line, my airbrush about 6 inches from my baits, then you don't see that air inconsistency. Not gonna lie, I've watched your video. Well, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you watching the videos. I'm finally monetizing. I filled out some of the paperwork today, so online. So the channel's monetizing. So that's going to be exciting. I will be putting out a newsletter to my members, and I've already, each newsletter will have themes. And the first one's basic fishing, but we'll do one on bass, on trout, on panfishing, airbrushing, boats, kayaks, stuff like that. Each newsletter is going to have a specific theme. And this way, if you ever want to go back and look at something, you can go ahead and do that. You're sorry. Well, believe me, I'm nothing. I'm really nothing. Although, if you're ever in the area, I love taking you guys out fishing. I always love taking you fishing. I had a lot of people today come up to me and want me to take them fishing. Fishing season's just starting. Water's still real cold, but the trout are going to be stocked. So this little bait right here will be catching trout. Ones like it like crazy here. And then as the water warms up, because I'm in Southern Oregon, it's not warm yet. It's about 42, 43 degrees. When he gets into the 55s, then the bass start to really hit. At 70, my lake gets to about 78 degrees. Top water is just like nuts. I mean, every cast you're catching a fish. I mean, it's sick. I'm in Klamath Falls, Oregon. That's where I am. We sell my baits in the Lake of the Woods Marina. And, of course, people contact me, and I'm so laid back. Again, I'm retired. I do this to support my fishing. I want to start soft bait making, and it cost me about $800 to set up what I think I need for full soft bait molding. It's expensive, the equipment I'm looking at, but if you're going to do it right. So we're going to be working on that, and I really want to use these auctions to raise the money for soft bait manufacturing. So that it's going to be a while. Stuff's made in the Ukraine, so no, that's fine. I don't mind at all. Typically it's about $10 a bait, unless it's a big bait, and depends. Like these bluegills. These bluegills are very, it's a jointed bait, but these bluegills are very hard to make. And so those run more money, but just a bone white one, these typically a jointed bait's about $15. And that's usually what I sell and then most of these other things are, look at this hula popper. Look at that. That's a cool hula popper. That's a great one. That's going to be great. One for me, one for you guys. That's a good one. Oh, that'll catch a bass. Oh yeah, I have jerk baits. Oh yeah, look at this. It's really put a really cool pattern on this one. This will be for sale on my auction. Look at that. That's a beautiful beautiful jerkbait. Um, nice. It's got a transfer system in it. Really nice deep knock to it. So when when the transfer, what happens is that the ball bearings go to the back when you cast it, and it just allows it to travel farther. And then when it lands, the magnet it'll go ahead and let loose, and then you've got a free flowing ball in it. So there's a magnet in there that actually holds that ball bearing for weight transfer. So, but yeah, I've got different versions of this, but yeah, I got a beautiful. This one's gorgeous. Um, I know it looked like a simple bait to you guys, but this one, I think I only have one of these. Again, every bait's unique because you can't paint something exactly the same way. You just can't. So this is a gorgeous bait. Look at this. I don't know if you guys can see. So I went with a bone yellow, pink with a false eye. And I sprayed it from the front. So you actually have a white line right behind the gill plate. And man, it's beautiful bait. You pull this baby through the water, it'll look like a bleeding minnow through the water. It'll look really, really good. And like I said, I always use this color shifting pigment in my clear coat, so it's really sparkly. I don't know how else to say it. It's a technical term us fishermen use. Sparkly. I don't know. I don't want to talk over your head now. I know, it's one of those terms you're going to have to Google. Sparkly. But yeah, I do have a little this, little that still. And then of course, I love finesse fishing. I love finesse because I use my Aldebaran a lot. And my ultralight setup, my BFS setup. I just think it's more fun to catch a 5-pound fish on 4-pound test, or bigger. You can pull in a tarpon on 4-pound test. You just gotta let it run. It's just the way it's gonna have to be. You gotta tire it out. You just gotta steer it and use its momentum in order to steer it around. It takes a lot more technique or skill to catch a big fish with very small, light line. But my line, this right here is 4-pound test. This is my Shimano BFS. It's not my Aldebaran. This is the Curado BFS on this one. And that was my BFS setup until I splurged and got my Aldebaran. Very expensive. $300 minimum on that reel alone. But boy, so much fun. I mean, I've restored 269 Dodge Chargers, and this thing gives me just a thrill of catching a big fish as my Chargers do when I rev them up and open them up. So, all right, guys, we're gonna let you go. We painted 3 baits. One's total surprise. This color shifting magenta gold is stunning. Totally did not know what was going to happen with that. I don't know how to do raid, but check out some of these other auctions. Some of these guys are giving these things at starting bids of $1. You will not see that from me because I do not want to sell one of my baits for $1 or $2 or $3. My starting bids typically are $5 to $10, right in there. And once in a while, I'll do a grouping of 2 baits. But these things take a while to do. It takes 4 days minimum to do a bait. 4 days because you paint it, dry it, glue on the eyes, let that cure because that super glue that I use will not mix with epoxy well. I've done that and it's ruined perfectly good paint jobs. And then the next day I clear coat it. It takes 2 days for them to cure, and then I clean them out. Any of the eyes, eyelets, I clean them out. If they're jointed, I make sure that the joints are free and clear, and that sometimes takes hours to do. And then I put really good stuff on it. I use stainless steel split ring and fantastically sharp hooks. On my big giant swim baits, I use gamakatsu hooks, usually 1/0 on those baits, and they are. It is well. I mean, you can breathe on it and you can hook yourself. It's crazy sticky. So, but thanks for stopping in. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for helping me paint 3 more baits. I mean, we got the sugar daddy and the baby daddy, and then we got the I don't know what to call that. Gold surprise. Man, that's beautiful. It's just shimmering in that magenta. Looks really good. So, all right, go find an auction, buy stuff, and please bookmark me and go buy Terrible at Fishing on YouTube. Subscribe to me, check out my videos, have fun. If you have any questions, just email me. My email's on every one of my videos on Terrible at Fishing. You DM me here. And if you want me to paint a bait for you, I'll paint a bait for you. And I forgot who it was that got one of these, but DM me. We'll figure something out. I got 3 of those. All right, off we go. We gotta. Oh my goodness. This is a whole studio. I have multiple monitors and stuff like that. All right, here we go.